This morning, the Russian troops fired at residential quarters in one of Mykolaiv residential districts. According to the State Emergency Service, civilians were injured in the shelling. At least one residential building came under fire. In some apartments, windows were blown out. Balconies were destroyed. The spokeswoman of the main department of the SES in Mykolaiv region, Ilyana Patsuk, told Suspilne about it. The head of Sumy Regional Military Administration, Dmytro Zhivitsky, said that on the night of May the 28th, the Russian military had been firing at the region for 4 hours. In particular, a rocket attack destroyed an agricultural enterprise in Putyvl community. Also from its territory, the army of the Russian Federation conducted mortar fire at the territory of Znop-Novhorodske community, and vicinities of Bachivsk suffered about 30 artillery blows. There were no casualties. Police continue to rescue civilians in the Donetsk region. According to law enforcement agencies, about 50 people, including wounded adults and children, have been evacuated by armored vehicles during the current day under shell bursts.
We continue to carry out evacuation actions, humanitarian actions in the settlements of Raihorodok, Mykolaiv and Donetsk of Slovyansk district. The situation is getting more complicated. So far, there have been artillery shells of Raihorodok and Mykolaiv as well as Donetsk. The front line is constantly changing.
I thought it was the end, like this in the cellar, sleeping for 3 days in the cellar. Young boys. What was missing? Everyone lived peacefully, quietly. They left their homes. Everyone fled. Among the evacuees was also a wounded 3-year-old boy with shrapnels in his body. The child has injuries to abdomen and a leg, and his father was killed by a Russian shell in front of the family. He was hit by a shell, all body injured. It is all cut. He didn't want us to leave. He said to the last, "Soon everything will be over. Everything will be fine."
Both at night and during the day, the children are afraid, tremble, hide under the tables. We are not military.
We're not military. Why fire at us? What bad did my husband do? He's not guilty of anything. Temporary housing, food and medical care have been provided for the evacuees. Police say the rescue is taking place in difficult conditions, as the road on which the evacuation buses travel is being shelled by the Russian military. According to the General Staff, the Russian military have been conducting active offensive operations in Donetsk region. Mortars and multiple rocket launchers were fired in Liman direction. According to Donetsk Region National Police, the Russian army fired at 14 settlements in the region this day. There are dead and wounded. 32 civilian objects were destroyed. Residential buildings, fire station, a recreation center, construction and agricultural enterprises. The National Police documented war crimes. According to the head of Donetsk Regional Military Administration, Pavlo Kyrylenko, a total of 442 civilians have been killed and 1,173 wounded since the Russian invasion began in Donetsk region. It is currently impossible to determine the exact number of victims in Volnovakha and Mariupol. About 70 bodies were found during the dismantling of debris on the territory of the former Oktyabr plant in Mariupol. They were packed in plastic bags and taken for burial in a mass grave in the village of Stary Krym. The advisor to the mayor of Mariupol, Petro Andrushchenko, reported about it. Identification was not performed. According to locals, given the condition of the bodies, they could not be identified. The number of such places of mass deaths in Mariupol is unknown. The head of Luhansk Regional Military Administration, Serhiy Haidai, said that the Russian military had been shelling the town of Severodonetsk the current day, and street fighting had also taken place. The Russian military have suffered significant losses, and they were forced to retreat to previously occupied positions, as reported by Haidai on his Telegram. He also added that 14 high-rise buildings in Severodonetsk had been damaged the current day, and the nearby village of Sinetsky had also been shelled. Destruction was recorded in other towns in Luhansk region, in Hirske, Zolote, Lysychansk, Vrubivka and Orikhove. A total of 45 houses were damaged during the day. The National Police said that 31 civilians from Lysychansk, including 13 children, had been evacuated the current day. The evacuees also include a woman who recently suffered a stroke and a retired couple. A young couple from that entrance. I came to them yesterday and I said we were already starving. We had nothing to eat. They cooked soup. They went today and found you to take us out somewhere. I don't know where I'm going, how I will live. Oh my God. The head of Luhansk Regional Military Administration, Serhiy Haidai, said on his telegram that along with the evacuation transport, humanitarian cargo had arrived in Lysychansk for those who remained in the town. The head of the region called this evacuation one of the most difficult and at the same time the most productive in recent times. Under fire, police continue to evacuate people to safer places.
Luhansk Police, Patrol Police, military civil administration bodies of Luhansk region continue work on evacuation of civilians in the conditions of combat operations in the territory of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk.
Kuzia, the cat from Lysychansk, has reunited with his family in Khmelnytsky. Before the war, he had lived in Lysychansk in the Konovalov family. Kuzia is a mogi. He was born in the street and could have had a future of a street cat. He was to have been a stray hooligan, but we took him into our family. He became a member of our family. Currently, the internally displaced family lives in Khmelnytsky. The owner of the cat, Olena, says that after the constant bombing of their town by Russian troops, the family, saving the life of their 8-year-old daughter, fled the war into the unknown. Cat Kuzia was temporarily left with the parents, who at that time refused to leave the town. Why didn't we take the cat right away? First of all, we didn't know where we were going and how far we were going, and we didn't know whether they would accept or not with the cat. In fact, there wasn't any preparing. When we were leaving, it was 12 degrees below zero. The trip was difficult and long, says Olena. They had to stop for several days in different towns until they found a long-term shelter in Khmelnytsky, 1,000 kilometers away from their hometown. We haven't seen our Kuzia for several weeks since we left. Of course, we called our parents several times a day to hear about him. They sent photos of him. We communicated via video link. My daughter always ran to the phone and asked to show her Kuzia. Olena's daughter, 8-year-old Lila, says she constantly missed her pet and dreamed of the only birthday present for Kuzia to come.
When we first arrived, Kuzia was not with us. He remained in Lysychansk. I missed him. I wanted Kuzia to come for my birthday, but he came even sooner.
The girl says she was preparing for the meeting. She bought new toys and his favorite food at the pet store. Kuzia was on the way for a week. He was brought by the relatives who also fled the war to Khmelnytsky region, says the cat's owner. At first, when he entered the apartment, he bent down, sniffed every corner, not understanding anything, and then sat aside as if he was offended, thinking, "Why did you leave me?" When we gave him his favorite food, he ate, drank some water, and then he calmed down, more or less, and began to feel better after all he had endured.